Particularly, I think, in cultures where people are normally afraid to express themselves in a public area, these, especially on the phone, they can do something, right within themselves and present it to the public, and really mostly anonymously.
And it's all feeding each other.
Yeah.
It's all feeding each other. Because you're doing that all the time. You're becoming that much more closeted.
Yeah. I mean, and yet connecting with people more, which is the funny part of it.
In India, it's not even 3G till now. 3G will be launched very soon in Bombay. But speeds are still slow. I mean, not fast enough to read novels, thankfully. So people are still talking to each other.
No, but they're connecting more than they did before, while not connecting at all, right?
So I'm still interested. I'm still going to try to pursue this.
Go for it.
And even yourself, Jay, at the start you talked about how there's less watching, maybe of Western trends, and there's kind of things originating here. I'm still interested to kind of think about the flow of trends and what movement takes place in one country and how it influenced another country. Can you give me any information, any insight into that sort of thing?
One thing that we've been seeing in India happen with the younger generation again is that there's much more, there's entrepreneurship happening, which I think is traveling everywhere within Asia. This whole thing of escaping your current lot and sure as hell I can do anything as I want. So people in small towns, one great example is that there's this academy called Frankfin Air Hostess Academy. So they train you to become air hostesses. In the last 2 years, they've got 60 centers opened in small towns, big towns. Big towns were still fine, but even smaller, Seg B towns. They've got 60 centers with young girls who could have never ever dreamt of careers. To begin with careers, and then to have a career like being an air hostess. It's almost like it's actually. I was thinking to myself, that's actually symbolic of the flight this young generation is taking. So this whole thing of A, I can do anything I want, and B, I do not want to follow the path that my ancestors followed, my father followed, my grandfathers followed, which was to get a nice steady job. They're actually shunning stability. Life is becoming this series of experimentations, and careers have opened up, So I think that's one of the things. This whole bit of I want to do things by myself, like in the last presentations, some of the stuff these people are doing. That kind of thing, I think, is traveling across Asia.
Yeah. What about you, your team?
I think,
I don't know. Because basically, I think for many Japanese, even if something didn't originate in Japan, they maybe think that it came from Japan just because it's there. I think most Japanese that I talk to think that Mr. Donut is Japanese. Yeah. Yeah, of course it's Japanese. It's in Japan, right? Obviously. Yeah, so I think that there's automatically an assumption in Japan that there's nothing trickling into Japan. That of course, everyone wants Japanese culture, right? So it's trickling out. When I went to Taipei, it was unbelievable how the influence of Japan in Taiwan.
What do you mean?
Fashion, kind of what was cool, I guess. The people who were in the subculture people were very similar, I think, in the way they dressed and the way they acted. But I don't speak Chinese, so it's hard to tell. But
let's. We only have a few more minutes, and I'm going to open up to the floor as well. Maybe we can finish this by talking about a couple of pieces of advice. Often people just want to find quick pieces of information.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want to hire companies like mine, and so they want to do it themselves, which I feel they should actually. That's why I create the website to help deliver inspiration. There's a couple of pieces of advice about how to find trend information and use it.
How to find trend information and use them.
Maybe how could people set up their own youth network or scout network?
I think
by hiring Mindshare. It's already in place.
Totally. But if you don't have the budget, that's fine. No, I think you have to be immersed in their culture. That's the most important thing for me. You have to be immersed. You have to know and talk to real live people who are actually creators in that community to feel the vibes, to really understand the mentality. Because I think one thing I've noticed is that this young generation doesn't want to be like any of us in this room. They just want to make it by themselves. They want to be different. They don't want to be working. They don't want to be slaving. They don't want to be working in big corporations. That's something that advertisers and marketers don't realize, that they don't want to be like us. And, you know, you really have to get down and hang out with them to feel that, to feel what they need.